Have you ever felt stuck? Like you're waiting for that huge transformation to happen? That one moment when you finally realize that you have grown as a person. Well, if you have, you're not alone. Today I'm going to share a Reddit post that I recently read and what it was that came up for me after reading it. Hi there. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. My name is Raquel Perez, and I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Colorado. I help individuals who feel stuck gain the safety that they need for the insight that they're looking for. And this is where I share resources and tools like stories and meditations to help create safety for insight. If that looks like something that you are looking for, please subscribe to the channel down below. I have also created a free booklet for those of you who stay with me through to the end. So I will see you on the other side to get more information about that free gift. With that, let's go ahead and dive into today's story. I'm going to share the original Reddit post, and I'm also going to share 4 responses that really caught my eye. So let's go ahead and start with the original story. And the title of this story is The Moment You Realized You Were Growing as a Person. Personal growth is weird. You don't always notice it happening, but then one day you react differently to something that used to bother you. Have you had a moment where you suddenly realized you've grown? What happened? So this is the first response that really caught my eye. For me, it was when someone criticized my work. A year ago, I would have taken it personally. This time, I just saw it as feedback. It felt like a small win, but it made me realize I've changed. And this is the second response that caught my eye. I journal every week, or I try to. I've had the same digital journal since 2022. Back in December, I decided to read my entry from exactly a year earlier for fun. It was a truly harrowing experience. The tone was incredibly soul-crushing and melancholic, as I vented about the intense academic and personal stress I was under, in addition to the mental illness that had completely inhibited my ability to live a normal life. Now, I'm generally happy. I'm able to keep up with my academics while still feeling challenged, and my mental health doesn't significantly impact my life anymore. It's staggering to think about it, and I'm so grateful. This is the third response. I knew I had grown as a person when I stopped seeing my son as an extension or version of me, and finally saw him for the beautiful, brilliant boy he is, as a completely separate human being from me. It sounds silly now, but it was mind-blowing when it occurred. Since then, I think I have grown exponentially, because once you remove the ick in one area, so much flourishing occurs elsewhere. And this is the fourth response. For me, it was when my mind actively countered a negative belief I had about myself. I don't remember what it was, but a negative thought about myself came up. And my mind immediately went, but that's not true. That's when I realized all the inner work I was doing was maybe working. What a moment it was for me. I remember getting goosebumps. Well, that brings us to the end of the Reddit post. What is it that's coming up for you after hearing those stories of other people and their experiences? If you feel comfortable enough in sharing those, I would love to hear what it is that's coming up for you. Don't forget to drop them in the comments down below and get in on the conversation too. And now I want to share a little bit about what it is that's coming up for me after reading that Reddit post. And there's a few things that are coming up. But first, as I reflect back on these shifts that have happened in my own life, I start to realize how many shifts there have been. And it actually really excites me to think about the fact that I have to narrow this down to just one story to share here with you today. because there was a moment in my life when I felt so low, when I felt so depleted that I truly don't think that I would be able to even think about just one story. So now that I have so many that I can choose from, and the fact that I need to narrow it down to one really shows the growth that has happened for me in my life. So here's one very small story of one of those moments where I experienced that shift in my life. It was very recently. It was over the holidays, this past holiday season, and my family had come over to my house for the holidays. We were cooking together. We were all in the kitchen, and my dad and I were cooking breakfast for our family. And my dad became very frustrated with me in the way that I was cooking in my kitchen. He became very flustered, and he shot a glance over at me. His very disapproving look. And very loudly, he said, Look at the way that you're doing that. You're doing it all wrong. That's not how you're supposed to do it. That's why this pan is all burnt." That look, with that tone, at one point in my life, it would have frozen me. And I would have done anything to gain his approval again. But this time it looked very different. I looked over back at my dad. We caught eyes. And as we were still looking at each other, I very calmly and very slowly said, "It's okay. That burnt pan, it doesn't really bother me." And this moment also shifted something in him, because he looked back at me and he said, in a very different way than he had ever said before, "You're right. I don't know why the way that you're cooking in your kitchen bothers me so bad. It's your kitchen, and you can cook the way you want to." And at the time that that happened, it felt so small and insignificant. I knew it felt different in my body, but I really hadn't pieced all of the information together until I had recounted it to my girlfriend. And as I was recounting the story, and even as I recount it here today, I realized the impact that that had, because I didn't become frozen the way I used to. And that for me meant a significant change had happened. And that brings me to the next thing that's coming up for me. And that is that growth and transformation so often happens in these very small moments that can feel insignificant. And sadly, they can oftentimes become forgotten. Because if we don't give ourselves the time and the space to reflect on these very small shifts that happen in our life, we won't notice how they are adding and aiding in the transformation of our lives. So I encourage you to take time to reflect on these small shifts and don't let them become forgotten, because that is you healing, growing, and transforming. If you would like more ways to create safety for insight, please don't forget to look at the description down below and to get your free booklet. That is a booklet, a guide on how to create safety for insight, because insight only flourishes in safety. Well, my friend, that is all I have for this video today. If you have found it useful or helpful in any way, please hit that like button down below. If you want more content like it to continue to create safety for insight, please subscribe to the channel. And here I will leave you with this meditation that will allow you to sit with all the greatness that you are. Until next time, bye for now.